Why do you believe that the police must still exist?
We know now that the billions invested in the criminal legal system is not working. We are spending on incarcerating an individual more than tuition for UW-Madison. That
apparently, should police exist is now a trick question. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, your home for independent and nonpartisan commentary and analysis on politics, media, internet culture, and more. And oh boy, I am so deeply black-pilled or like cynical and depressed about the ongoing rise of the far left Democratic Socialists of America, this like unhinged organization that's hijacking the Democratic Party and running all these extremist candidates. I mean, we've been over their agenda, everything from like literally have the government seize control of large corporations to complete open borders to abolishing police and prisons. It's absolute lunacy. And yet these people are ascending to positions of real prominence and power, including potentially being the governor of the state of Wisconsin. So Francesca Hong is massively ahead in the race to become the Democratic nominee for the Wisconsin gubernatorial election, and she'd have a shot at least a good shot of winning the race in the general election if she got the nomination. And so she is, a longtime hard left DSA activist, but she is now walking back some of the more extreme things she said in the past, like about having no police and totally abolishing it and ending it and just having, communities police themselves and work it all out with like kumbaya drum circles or what have you. She's walking that back. She's you actually thought for a second, didn't you, that she's not doing any of that. Watch Francesca Hong crash out and glitch when asked extremely basic questions about whether police should exist. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Anyway, let's watch.
Why do you believe that the police must still exist?
still exists. Because the reality of this moment and in the types of public safety systems that we have, I want us to be sensible and realistic, but we know now that the billions invested in the criminal legal system is not working. We are spending on incarcerating an individual more than tuition for UW-Madison. That, this is about making sure that local law enforcement is working with community, that we are taking resources from the state and investing in things like public education, victim services, out of school programs for our kids to go and have a great, be able to be themselves. These are things that data and facts have shown that prevent crime. Again, if you want to be tough on crime, you better be tough on causes.
Oh my gosh. How ridiculous is it to be asked an extremely straightforward question like, why are you now saying police do need to still exist? Because over the years, she has repeatedly said, abolish all police. Like, just littered her with public statements to that effect. And you start babbling about school funding and programs and all this, unrelated stuff. For example, what does she say? She's like, it costs too much to incarcerate someone, more than a university tuition. And okay, well, there's nothing to do with police existing or not. That's an issue of cost overruns in the prison system. We should probably, rein that back. But what? How hard would it be to say? Well, of course we need law enforcement because we need to keep communities safe. And there's always going to be rapists and murderers and pedophiles, and we need to apprehend them and lock them up. Now, that said, I will be tough on violent crime, but I want to stop over-policing communities, stop police abuse, ensure that civil liberties are always respected, and I'll work on all that reform as governor. I mean, if that's the kind of thing she said, I think independents like me would be nodding along and saying, okay, yeah, fair enough, sounds reasonable. But instead, when you can't bring yourself to acknowledge that police are in fact necessary, without just babbling about other stuff incoherently, at some point you just come off as a Looney Tune. And that's what these DSA types do when they're asked just the most basic things, like, should police exist? Should we have a border? And they glitch at these extremely simple questions. I don't know. It's kind of like the version of what is a woman that's haunting these socialists. Just the most basic, straightforward things they just totally fail at and start babbling incoherently. And we haven't even got to the worst part of this clip. As it kept going, she kept digging. In fact, it got worse. Let's watch.
Do you still long-term want to abolish police? The ultimate.
I believe that we have to be serious about public safety, and I'm going to be a
Oh my
governor
God.
that is more serious than anyone else in making sure that we are building systems of care, that we are focusing on lowering crime, getting guns off of our street.
Stop. He asked you a extremely straightforward yes or no question. Long term, do you still believe in getting rid of the police? She goes, I believe in building systems of care. That's not the question! Say yes or say no. Answer the question. I hate this thing these politicians and candidates do, where they're asked the most direct questions and they don't answer them. They just start babbling about talking points. We need to invest in public safety. Do you want to get rid of police long term? Yes or no? It's like genders, babe. There's only two. And in this case, you actually do get to pick one. And yet you seem unwilling to. The answer, because anytime they do this, the answer is the answer they know they don't want to admit. The real answer is the answer that would hurt them, but is true. So for example, in this case, the answer is yes. She does long-term want to not have police, but she doesn't want to say that openly because she knows how absolutely insane most people and most voters will perceive that to be. So she starts babbling about building systems of care. I don't know, man. At some point, I'm going to pack it up and I'm going to become a supervillain because I don't know how I'm supposed to cover politics and talk about politics and not feel so gaslit that I go insane and I need to be put in a padded room, because this kind of thing drives me up the wall. Answer the freaking question. Stand on business and be honest about what you believe in, and then voters can decide whether or not they want to go down that path. Don't do this duplicitous snake oil salesman dodging questions thing and then act like you're still somehow this like stunning and brave leader. You're not. You're crazy and cowardly. Anyway, watch the last bit of this clip because she really goes all in on this, just like redirection to woke academic sounding buzzwords. Let's watch.
Our street and making sure that folks who are incarcerated, which 90% of those folks will be going back to community, that we're lowering recidivism rate. And it's
so true,
appalling
Queen.
to me that for folks who are working within our prisons, they have some of the highest suicide rates of any job and occupation. So this system is not working. If we want to be serious, we better be putting these billions into the things that we know prevent crime.
Would you care to clarify the statement about
The reporter at the end there goes, would you care to clarify? No, babe. She's not interested in clarifying shit. She's interested in gaslighting and deflecting and babbling. And the idea that any voter would see her and be like, yeah, that she should run our state genuinely fills me with existential dread. But I want to just touch on something she said there. She was asked a follow-up because her first time she was asked about whether police should exist, she babbled incoherently for 60 seconds. So she's asked again a very direct yes or no question. Long term, do you still want to get rid of police? And by the end of her word salad, she's talking about the fact that employees who work in the prison system have concerningly high rates of suicide. Obviously, that's terrible if that's true. I don't know anything about that, but that's something important and worth discussing. It's got absolutely nothing to do with the question. That not only have you just changed the subject, you've then changed it 3 more times, and you're now a football field away from the original subject of the question, which was just, long term, do you want to abolish the police or not? How is that a trick question in American politics in 2026? How is that a trick question, guys? Oh my God, we are so cooked. She may well be the next governor of Wisconsin. I cannot understand wanting to put somebody like this, because when you vote a lawmaker to the House of Representatives or the Senate, they're ultimately just one vote in the sea of hundreds. But and so if you have somebody who's ideologically extreme, most of their crazy ideas don't end up getting enacted into actual policy. But when you put somebody in charge of a state as the governor, they actually run that state. They become the chief executive of that state. And so they get to do a lot and make many, many consequential decisions that affect all aspects of your life in that state, from crime to public safety to the economy and beyond. And people are like, you know what? She's cooking. Yeah, let's put her in charge. I don't understand what we're doing here. Democracy has failed at that point. Like, it's still better than, I guess, any other system, but not looking great. And I want to go over this woman's statements from the past because, again, we know the real answer. She does want to get rid of all the police. So anyway, here are some of her old tweets. Thread: I'm a person, not just a candidate, and I believe in a world where people, not police, will work to keep others safe from harm. That's what defund the police means. Guys, you don't understand. People will just work to keep each other safe from harm. We'll all just hold hands in a circle and we'll sing Kumbaya, Kumbaya. And there'll be no crime and bad people won't do anything, and we won't need mean, scary government officials with badges or guns who are all just racist. Anyway, it's like, how is this anyone so childish and naive? How do they have such a insanely naive view of human nature that you could ever think that? And how is that not like a perennially disqualifying sentiment to have ever expressed? I'm sorry, if you're that clueless about how human nature and society and government function, pack it up for your political career. I'm sure there are many careers she could do where she'd be lovely. I bet you she'd be a great elementary school teacher or kindergarten teacher. She could teach everybody, don't be mean to other people. All we do is sharing. We just all have to be nice to our neighbors. All this like very sweet childish stuff. I bet she'd be great. She would eat it up in preschool. Stick to that. Anyway, more tweets. To the communities who endure never-ending trauma of violence sanctioned by the state, I grieve with you always. Community care can and will exist. We must collectively work to end the violence and abolish the police state. Reform has never been the answer to this system of harm. Oh my God, another tweet. Police exist to uphold white supremacy. Defund, then abolish. Reform can't be an option. So when she won't answer the question, like, do you want to long-term get rid of police? The answer is yes, based on her past public statements. And we know that. And voters should hold her accountable for that, because I think even among Democratic voters, that would still be considered a crazy take. Maybe I'm being naive now, but I'm pretty sure it would be. So she needs to actually be held accountable for it, and then spare me the, oh my God, police are just there to uphold white supremacy. Really, that's why there's police in every society in the entire world, even the completely non-white ones. Like, obviously, there have been and are issues with racism in policing, and even systemic racism in our society, which was, at one point segregated and racist, and we've come so far, but sure, there's still work to be done. But let's not pretend that policing itself is somehow inherently racist or illegitimate or any of that. I mean, heck, in a lot of places, the police force is incredibly diverse, and the actual minority communities in question, Black communities, Hispanic communities, often want more policing, actually. They often want a bigger police presence in their neighborhood, not less. It's the highly educated, affluent, left-wing ideologues and activists who believe this nonsense, who, I guess in her case, she's at least Asian. She's not white, but is often coming from like a white leftist saying the policing is racist. And then you go to an actual Black community and they're like, we could use more policing, actually. We could use more investment in policing this community. It's just a total dichotomy that is completely irreconcilable and delusional. But yeah, look, I just find this all to be maddening. I can't believe this is a real candidate, or this is actually where the motion and energy is in the Democratic Party. But I hope they get a hold of it, because right now this train is just barreling towards a cliff, and the tracks are just broken and they're about to go in free fall. And I hope they can stop it, but I don't think they will at this point. I believe this is unfortunately where the Democrats are headed. So anyway, guys, you'll have to let me know what you think, especially Wisconsin people. If there's any Wisconsin people in the audience, I want to hear from you. How much have you heard about this lady? Are you going to vote for her for governor? Explain yourself, if so, because I have questions. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed if you aren't yet, and do hit the like button. Consider becoming a channel member. It's the best way to support my work. I call out both extremes and both sides, and I do independent analysis, so I do need support from viewers like you. Hit the join button or click the link in the description. With that, guys, we'll leave it there for this one and be back with more real soon.